Hello everyone and welcome to this new video. I'm Omra and today I'm gonna do my new tier list for the damage dealer commanders. First and start, I want to specify that this tier list is gonna be made only for damage dealer commander, because support and damage dealer need to have different tier lists. I don't want the people make confusion about what role the commander have to play. Some commander can appear on support and the damage dealer commander at the same time because they are hybrid, and for this reason you have to think where you wanna play it, because a commander that can play different role can have a different position on the tier list. For be considered a commander damage dealer, what you have to have at least one or two skill that inflict damage or buff troop for dealing damage, so I don't gonna consider all the commander that only support the other formation. Let's start with the first commander. Adune is directly on C tier in my opinion, because I have 2 damage skill of course and also Black Numenorian that inflict additionally focus damage, but it's too hybrid. You need to build very strange for make a bit of damage, and also the skill don't have an insane value, so it's a commander that you don't want as your damage dealer. Then we have Azok, a commander that have 4 skill of 4 for inflict damage to the enemy, that make that very strong, but only if you have a respect very high. You need Zenith 15 for reach the maximum power of this commander, and in general the overall damage is very good but it's not insane. For this reason I'm gonna place that on a A tier. Now we talk about Aragorn II, a commander that you need the respect to and you're good to go. You already have your full potential of damage. It's decent damage because I have 2 skill for deal a very good damage, but it's only 2 skill. For this reason I consider that a B tier commander. Then we have Aragorn King of the Men, that is superior than Aragorn II in terms of statistic and also have a respect for skill that can help a lot your team, so for this reason I want to make that A tier, inferior than Azok in terms of pure damage dealer but still A tier. Then we have Azurkor, a commander that increases the damage dealt by the troops of his formation, gives them the possibility to dual blow each round, gives them the possibility to inflict fire damage each time they attack. The only problem with that is that the damage dealer troop is not so great in this moment, so for now I'm gonna place that on a B tier. It's not a commander that you want on your prime team. Then we have Balin, a commander that have Durin's Blood like Old Dwarf, one of the best skill for damage dealing in the game, but at the same time have Revivalist, that is one of the worst skill for damage deal on the game, and for this reason I'm gonna place that on a D tier, because in general have only 1 skill for damage dealing very good. Then we talk about Bard, a commander that have 3 skill for damage dealing, that is very strong in my opinion, but the skill are not incredibly strong for doing damage. Of course Bard have also some good stuff for reducing the damage of the enemy, so it's not so bad, but at the same time the damage is not at the level of Azok for example, so for this reason I'm gonna place that between Aragorn King of the Men and Azok. Now it's the time to talk about Bjorn, one of the best commander for doing damage in the current meta. We have 3 skill for damage dealing. One of that is the insane burst on the round 4, is so famous for that. His hit is just insane, and for this reason I'm gonna place that on a S+. You always wanna use Bjorn if you have it. Then we talk about Cestaro, a commander that have 3 skill for inflict damage, focus damage, that also can ignore the defense. The only problem of Cestaro is the initiative. He have not a great initiative, and for this reason sometimes he can get countered by the White Council meta for example, but overall he's an insane damage dealer. For this reason I'm gonna place that on a S tier. Now another monster commander, we talk about Dane, a damage dealer that dominates the meta from the 2.0. In terms only of pure damage is the best commander of the game. For this reason I want to place that on a S+, and yes, on a top of Bjorn, cause Dane is still better than Bjorn in my opinion. Now is the time to talk about a free-to-play commander, that is Dwalin. It's very good for dealing damage, in particular in the first couple of seasons. He lose a bit of value in the late game because have only 2 skill for damage dealing, so it's out damaged by the big commanders, but overall is a commander that take place on a top of the B tier. Next commander is another troop damage dealer commander, is Herald, that have a decent skill for dual blow, have a good buff for his troop, and it's overall a good commander for a troop comp, and for this reason I'm gonna place that on a B tier under Azurkor, because in my opinion Azurkor is still better. Now it's the turn of Eomer, that in my opinion is a very great damage dealer commander. Of course have only 2 skill for damage damage dealing, so that penalizes that a bit, but the unique is also very strong for increase its damage, and overall what I can say is a commander that deserves to be in a S- category. If you have a really crack Eomer, you're gonna have a very good damage, maybe not for your first team, but for secondary team it's very great. And after that, of course, we have Eowyn that go directly on a C tier, have 2 skill for damage dealing, but is nothing insane. Also the statistics are very bad, so there's no reason for use that as damage dealer, and in general for use them. Even worse than them, we have Faramir on a D tier that don't do damage at all, have 2 skill for damage dealing and some decent buff, but is nothing that you wanna use for real. Then we have Galadriel with 2 damage skill that in my opinion deserve to be on a A tier as damage dealer. It's not a pure damage dealer like Aragorn King of the Men, but is a good damage dealer for a formation if need to be that. Then I want to place on that tier list also Gandalf the White as damage dealer, cause I know it's a lot better on support troll, but at the same time if you have the correct gear you can deal damage, and in my opinion a Gandalf the White very good geared is B tier as damage dealer. He's not inferior than Aragorn II in terms of damage. I see a lot of Gandalf the White very crack deals 100k of damage. Then we have Gil-galad, another commander that is not main damage dealer but can do a damage dealer, troop damage dealer of course. He have a very good buff for increase the troop damage, and in my opinion deserve to be on the top of the troop damage dealers on a B tier. Now talking about Gimli, in my opinion is the king of the secondary team, cause he's not enough strong for compete and the S+ on the S, but is of course the top one of the S-, so he's exactly the commander you want for your second formation. Then I want to include on the tier list Gottmog that have a decent skill for increase the damage dealt of the troops, so deserving to be on a C tier as troop damage dealer. Then we have Aldir that pair with Faramir on a D tier is not a damage that you want on your team, and we have also Aragorn that I'm gonna place close to Aragorn II. The damage is not so inferior than them, so it's at the same level. On a B tier is a good place for them. Then I have Isildur that I don't estimate a lot as troop damage dealer, I prefer that as buffer, and for this reason I'm gonna place that under the other damage dealer troops on a B tier. We have Khaldun that deserve to be on a D tier, the damage of them is not relevant. Then Khamûl that deserve to be on a B tier cause its 2 skill are decent of course, but you have a really high chance to get countered by the White Council cause you don't have a lot of initiative on them, so you're gonna lose value. Then the King of the Dead that deserve to be on a F cause it's really terrible as damage dealer, have 1 skill and 1 unique that inflict damage, but that's all, and is not a lot of damage, is very bad, just bad in all the aspect of the game. Then we have Kirun that is at the same level of Herald as damage dealer, it's better than Herald at the tank level, so in my opinion is B tier close to Herald. Now talking about Lotr, in my opinion is a bit superior than Khamûl, so I'm gonna place that on a B tier, but overall the damage output is still not so great. Now we talk about a commander that received a rework in the past and gained a lot of position in my tier list. We talk about Legolas that right now in my opinion is a A tier commander, not so great cause don't deals an insane amount of damage, but for sure now is usable in a secondary team or even in the first team if you didn't have any other option. Then we have Lurtz, a commander that potentially have a very good amount of damage, is between Gimli and Eomer in my opinion S-, and also the unique of this commander is very perfect for them. The only downside of Lurtz that don't make them S or S+ is that they have only 2 skill for damage dealing. Then we have Maltok that go directly on a F tier, is terrible as damage dealer but is a damage dealer. We have Ogre that is a damage dealer of B tier in my opinion between Gil-galad and Aragorn, and then finally we reach the man, the number 1 of this tier list. We talk about Saruman, a commander that received a rework during the PBE of the 2.5 that everyone should use right now cause he's one of the best damage dealer of the game. He deals elemental damage, so ignore the high defense of the enemy tank commander. He is the best commander for remove the White Council stack and all the usage skill of your enemy. He have CC for madness the enemy, and is the only commander that can remove the White Council ignoring the protection of the Swan Knight. So he's actually the best right now for counter the current meta, deals a lot of damage and increase overall the damage of all your team. So Saruman absolutely S+, the number 1 of the damage dealer of the current meta. Also cause I have 3 skill for damage dealing and also the unique that inflict damage, that is insane. insane, guys. And from the top to the bottom we have Sharku that is insane also, but in worst, because it's F tier on the bottom of that. Next commander of the list is 𝒆𝒚𝒘𝒐𝒓𝒅𝒔 that go directly on a S tier, is the top of the S tier but is not S+, just cause the meta counter that. The unique is the principal part of the kit of 𝒆𝒚𝒘𝒐𝒓𝒅𝒔 that get counter from the meta, cause if you have Gil-galad and White Council probably you don't gonna deal damage at all with that, so you play without your unique. But overall damage of 𝒆𝒚𝒘𝒐𝒓𝒅𝒔 is still very insane and you want to use it in your formations. After that we have the Shadow, another commander that go directly on a S tier, not only cause inflict a lot of damage, in particular the hybrid damage it can deal is insane, but at the same time it's one of the best, the second best for clear the White Council that is the meta. So if you have a good Shadow you always want to use that in your formation. Then we have the Undying, a commander that is very strong as a support right now, but it can be also a good damage dealer if you build that for B that. In this case I want to place them in a top of the A tier cause it's not enough strong for BS-, it's not at the level of a Gimli for example, but is a very good damage dealer if you crack enough. Then we have Theoden, then go on a C tier in the bottom of that cause it's a troop damage dealer and is not a prime troop damage dealer in my opinion. And on a C tier I wanna also add Thorin on the top of that, but still on a C tier cause it's a commander that it's even worse than in the past. After the rework it's worse. Then we have Treebeard that is damage dealer, of course, is not insane, so I'm gonna place that on a C tier. You don't want Treebeard in your formation. I'm gonna also place Ugluk on a C tier in the bottom of that cause it's even worse than use Theoden and Gottmog. Then we have Utak, another commander that you don't wanna use it at all, so you're gonna place on a D tier. I have the Witchkin that can be both the damage dealer commander of focus damage and also troop damage dealer commander. I wanna place that on a top of Azure Core cause it's a bit better in my opinion, but inferior than Gil-galad. And for last, the worst commander damage dealer that have only one skill of damage dealing, but all the kit is centered on deal damage, so it's a damage dealer, but with only one skill of damage dealing I feel like is an F tier commander and deserve to be on the bottom of that. So this is my final tier list about the damage dealer commanders in the current meta. I think I include everyone that deserve to be in this place. Of course I'm gonna do also the tier list about the support really soon. I try to do that first in the new year so you can have all your tier list. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, just smash like on that and also subscribe to my channel if you're not already. Let me know in the comment what you think about this tier list, and if you have a different opinion about some commanders, feel free to message me on Discord and discuss with all my community. Like always, I wanna remember you have an affiliated link with the game that allow you to buy gems from the official site of the game, and if you choose to use my link, the devs gonna recognize me a little commission of what you spend and you're gonna support directly my channel. I'm gonna leave you the link in the description of the video and also in the first comment. Again, thank you for following me and see you in the next. Woo!